Social Security increases were promised, Social Security reform was promised, Social Security expansion was promised, and solvency was promised when it comes to Social Security by Congress members in Congress, the politicians who said that Social Security is going to increase, including our president with this tweet right here saying that he was going to give an additional $200 per month to Social Security recipients if he was elected president. Well, he became president. Where are those $200 per month now? Congress members in Congress making $14,000 per month on their $174,000 salary. That's 10 times the amount that Social Security recipients are receiving per month. How is a politician supposed to give the right amount of Social Security benefits to someone if they don't know what it's like to live on $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month? When it comes to what is being done, President Biden's four-point plan is being tested in Congress at this moment. I'm going to give the details of President Biden's four-point plan for Social Security. Also, we're going to hear from one of those politicians about what needs to be done for Social Security. You don't want to miss what he says when he talks about Social Security reform and how to fix it. So if you're on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, veteran, you don't want to miss this video. Really important updates, so make sure you stick around to watch the entire video. Before we dive into the content, if you appreciate the Social Security updates, the facts, the sources, and giving you a regular updates on Social Security, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into it. So really sad survey just came out. 6 in 10 Americans are more worried about running out of money in retirement than dying. Let that sink in. If you are an American and you live in the richest country in the world, you are more afraid of running out of money in retirement than dying. That's a really sad state of affairs and showing you how bad things are getting when it comes to our economy, our government, and how Social Security is treating its beneficiaries and recipients. So when it comes to Social Security, what is being done? Well, what was promised? Let's talk about this right here. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. President Biden tweeted from his official Twitter page. This is an official tweet. We should also increase monthly Social Security checks by $200 per month as proposed by Senator Wyden and colleagues. Seniors and people with disabilities are uniquely at risk right now. So this was in March 2020, before he was elected president. So if seniors and people with disabilities are uniquely at risk right now, that was in 2020. What about now, when things have gotten worse, when the economy has not helped Social Security recipients, when inflation has increased? What is being done about it right now? Well, those $200 per month checks, unfortunately, that was never spoken about again by President Biden. Other senators, Democratic senators in Congress have spoken about it, have pushed for the $200 per month Social Security increase through one of the proposals, one of the more popular ones, which is the Social Security Expansion Act, which would give every single Social Security recipient an additional $200 more per month. Right now, that bill is sitting in Congress, still being pushed, but no passing yet. When it comes to President Biden's plan, what is being done? So the grim reality of Joe Biden's four-point plan to change Social Security. Excuse me. So prior to being elected president, Joe Biden proposed a four-point Social Security plan designed to raise additional revenue and address a number of perceived shortcomings. The full scope of President Biden's plan wouldn't come to resolving Social Security's $22.4 trillion long-term funding obligation deficit. So President Biden did come out with a plan, in addition to what he was saying about the $200 more per month, to help out Social Security, but there's a few holes in the plan, which is the reason why the proposals in Congress are actually a little bit better than President Biden's plan, but I'll go over a few of these. So Joe Biden has proposed a four-point fix to strengthen Social Security. One, reinstate the payroll tax on high earners. So basically, anyone making above $400,000, tax them more. Then we have ditch the CPIW in favor of the CPIE. This is going to give a higher COLA payout because the CPIW is for workers, CPIE is for elderly. So it's going to go off of a different calculation to help out people who are seniors, who don't have as much money, who are on low and fixed income, who desperately need the help and were promised to be taken care of on Social Security, and that promise not fully being held up. Number 3, bolster the special minimum benefit. Though it may be a fact that flies under the radar, Social Security does have a special minimum monthly benefit for lifetime low-earning workers. In 2023, the special minimum benefit for someone with 30 years of coverage is $1,033 per month. However, $1,033 per month monthly check is still well below the poverty level for a single filer of $1,215 per month. So basically, they would increase the special minimum benefit by 125% of the federal poverty level, which would give a payout of $1,518 instead of $1,033. That $485 increase. This is probably one of the only increases that we've heard from President Biden. $485 from President Biden's plan to go out for the special minimum benefit. Now, also another one, lift payouts for aged beneficiaries. So what was said here is that there would be a gradual increase of 1% annually up to the primary insurance amount for aged beneficiaries. This 1% annual PIA increase would begin at age 78 and continue through age 82, equating to an aggregate 5%. So those are the plans that President Biden is going off of. What do you think of that? Could there be more to it? So this is just what President Biden said in the past, what he wants, but what is being proposed in Congress is going to trump whatever President Biden does in terms of his 4-point plan. So when it comes to a Social Security check and what is going to be, where it's going to stand, take a look at what Republican Senator Bill Cassidy has to say. This is really important. Make sure you pay attention to this whole video.
If nothing is done about Social Security, what does the program look like?
If no one does anything for Social Security, there'll be a guaranteed 24% cut in about 8 or 9 years. So, and somebody, a radio host in Shreveport, Louisiana, Aaron goes, well, that's okay, because I'll already be on and I'll be grandfathered. No, that's not true. Those who are receiving money at that time and all future beneficiaries will by law get what amounts to a 24% cut.
That's a lot.
That's if we choose to do nothing, which I'll point out, both President Biden and President Trump's plans are effectively to choose to do nothing. There'll be a 24% cut in that which people are receiving. Obviously, that's terrible. And by the way, that will double poverty among the elderly. So it's just a choice we shouldn't make.
If you're 55 years old and you're listening to what you just said, or are you hearing from folks that are 55 and around that age, I mean, what kind of concern are they expressing?
Well, it's interesting. You've got President Biden and President Trump effectively saying that anyone that wants to do anything about social is making the wrong choice. So they're being kind of, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it by Biden and Trump. So we're not hearing that much, except when you go to people. I had a little video clip. It's on my Twitter account, my Facebook page, and we call it Bill on the Hill. And I went around and spoke to people who were visiting Washington, D.C. And the guy from Pennsylvania, he goes, you know, I've had a lot of jobs that didn't provide retirement. I'm going to need social. A 24% cut, that's going to be terrible. And then there's a doctor from Opelousas, Louisiana, who actually was one of my former residents, but now he's got long gray hair. And he goes, I'm a doctor, by the way, so I used to teach. And he goes, oh, my family, my friends will have to choose between medicine and food. So we know there's going to be terrible consequences. But again, we have two leading presidential candidates that are telling the American people, if anybody wants to address it, they're wrong. We're choosing to do nothing. And that means they're choosing that people will have to choose between medicine and food.
We were just listening to callers in our first half an hour who are already making those decisions. And then we heard a couple callers talk about they paid off their homes, they retired, they paid off their homes, but they're seeing those property taxes on top of these other costs go up so unexpectedly that is really cutting into their Social Security check now.
So I'm told that if you're currently 60 in good health, you got a 50% chance of living to be 90. That's important for a couple reasons. One, isn't it great that we're living longer? But some folks are going to live beyond their ability to work. So even if you choose to work after retiring, you get to 80, you can't work any longer. So when Trump and Biden choose to do nothing, they're saying to those folks who are going to live beyond their ability to work, you're going into poverty. We want to get elected, so we're going to pretend that there's nothing that needs to be done, and you're going to go into poverty, and they don't care.
So let's talk about what you want to do. This is what you're proposing. Would place $1.5 trillion over 5 years in an investment fund separate from the Social Security Trust Fund. Hold this investment in escrow for 70 years. Aims for an average of about 3.5% equity premium over the 70-year escrow period. And that would cover up to 75% of the projected shortfall, is what you're saying. Some might get concerned that you are putting Social Security and putting it at the whim of the market.
Boy, am I glad you asked that, because you answered it in the way you put it. This fund is separate from Social Security. It doesn't take Social Security dollars at all. It takes money separate, and we can raise that however we wish. There's so many empty buildings the federal government owns. We estimate there's $20 billion worth of empty federal buildings. Sell off a portion of that, you would be able to fund the $1.5 trillion. Do a lot of other good things too. And so you fund it, and it grows separately. We would repeal the law that says that current beneficiaries get a 24% cut. So we actually guarantee the promised benefit that right now is going to be cut by almost a fourth. And we're betting on the strength of the American economy. We don't place any risk upon the beneficiary. If the market goes up and the market goes down, that risk is in the fund itself. But we know over 70 years, if history is any prologue, that it's going to do okay. And that's how we take care of 75% of the debt.
Why not do the other proposals that have been on the table? Capping Social Security, et cetera, raising the age. Take them, each of those proposals, and tell us why you wouldn't do that.
Well, first, you should not raise taxes on seniors. You should not decrease benefits for seniors. Period. End of story. 2/5 of baby boomers their only retirement plan is Social Security. So if you go to them and say, by the way, we're going to raise your taxes or we're going to decrease your benefits, it's just a non-starter. It's just a non-starter. So you just can't go there. Politically you can't, but also morally you can't. Now maybe you can raise the age of eligibility for someone who's currently 30 years old. Okay, that would have to be on the table. There's still 25% of the benefit we have to address. That's why we need presidential leadership. We need a president who's actually honest to the American people, not giving them happy talk in the hope to get elected by giving them happy talk, but being a leader and saying, listen, we still got 25% we have to address. How do we do it without affecting those who are retired or approaching retirement? And let's do it in a way that we politically find that we can do it. Now, by the way, if all you want to do is raise your taxes, that's incredibly regressive. It falls heavily upon those who make the least in our society. That's wrong. If all you want to do is raise the age of eligibility, you got to raise it pretty far. So you've got to have a proposal which actually is rooted in reality. We feel like ours is rooted in reality.
All right, well, let's hear what our viewers have to say. Spence in Clarksburg, West Virginia, Democratic caller. Hi, Spence.
Yeah, I find this guy totally obnoxious because he's just trying to privatize Social Security. They already owe Social Security $2 trillion. All you have to do to fix this Social Security problem is to lift the caps. And if you want to cut benefits, let's talk about cutting congressmen and their benefits after they leave their office, which they have no right for. Thank you. I'll listen to your answer.
Sounds great. We're not privatizing social, my friend. We're taking a fund separate from Social Security. We don't touch Social Security funds at all. I'm glad you phrased it that way because that's That's a way that people knock us without understanding the problem. And so we're making it separate. Now, if all you want to do is raise the cap, President Biden's proposal, which he proposed in his last campaign, which he's never submitted to Congress, is to say instead of the top sum being $160,000 to which you apply the cap, then we're just going to raise it to infinity. But you know, he doesn't index that to inflation, which means that over about 15 years, every single American will get basically, if you talk to the economists, a 13% tax increase. Now, my friend, if you want to have a 13% tax increase, or if you want your children to have it, then vote for their proposal. Choose their proposal, even though he's never submitted it to Congress. But if you want to bet on the strength of the economy, as opposed to some president or Congress raising your taxes by 13%, then think about ours. And by the way, Congress is in Social Security. There's something out there on the internet that somehow we in Congress don't pay Social Security. We do.
What about his comment that $2 trillion is already owed to the Social Security program?
No, that's kind of the excess that people have paid in over time is invested in Treasury bills. Now, I'm glad he mentioned that. So when Congress, so the American worker has paid in some years more than was paid out. That's what's going to be, that's the trust fund. That extra money has been invested in treasuries. By law, it can only be invested in treasuries. Treasuries have a return, since they bought them 5, 10, 15 years ago, have a return of 1% or 3% or 4%. Under Biden, our inflation rate has gone up to 6 and 7%. We're losing money on those investments. It's just like the worst investment strategy you could possibly have. The money we have in real dollars is shrinking as inflation continues to be high. So what we're doing is we're saying, okay, you can do that on social. We don't want to touch social. But in our fund, you would put it in the economy, say the stock market, and you allow that to grow. And over time, that has averaged since 1929, that's averaged, I think, 8.5% return per year. So you can either go to 3% return in the treasuries, that's the current model, or you can bet on doing what's happened over time, roughly 8.5%. We actually just estimate 8.34, but still you can invest on the 8.5, and that's how you bail out the system.
So the GOP plan, when it comes to Social Security, not necessarily increasing monthly checks, but talking more about the solvency of Social Security so that there's not a 24% cut in 10 years or whatever they're saying is going to happen with the Social Security program. So it's a little bit different than the increased monthly checks, which is what the Democrats are talking about. Let me know your thoughts on that. That is all the news that I have for you today. To hopefully brighten your day a bit, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi, my name is Bella, and this is the tip of the day. Do you know what you should always know to do? Even though if you can't go travel or anything, you could always try to find something they could do in the area that you're at. Or maybe you could probably go visit another state if you have a car or so. And you could go to different places, but it doesn't always have to be traveling to different countries and stuff. But oh my god. But whatever makes you happy, just do it. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. If you want to know the latest in terms of what President Biden has said in the past when it comes to Social Security, where it stands, what's going to happen next, what the potential cuts are, decreases, subscribe to the channel. And also, you definitely want to check out this video right up here. And I'll see you in that video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.